Well, welcome to episode 15. Let's just get this thing started.
Let's do it.
We are here at the Star Hill Dairy Market Lounge downtown.
Good job.
Once again, thank you to those guys for hosting us. We also, big shout out to the folks at Station C for sponsoring us and paying the checks. So Sydney shows up and does all this stuff for us. And so we can talk about cocaine and Miami Vice. It's a good time today. That's what we're going to do. I'm pretty busy. We're rolling. Today, we are joined by Mr. Charlie Davis of Piedmont Paint and Finishing. Is that right?
Finish.
Finish. Yep. Piedmont Paint and Finish.
Please.
He is a relatively new member of Station C, but you've been around the area forever. So, Charlie, take it away and tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do.
Yeah, I actually joined the Station C, or didn't join, but went to one of the earlier meetings because Josh had invited me.
We learned all about your chalkboard paint.
Yeah, right. Well, chalk paint. Different than chalkboard paint.
Okay,
we can
paint.
We can have that discussion here, but that's a
Let's
common
do it.
thing
Debate,
I hear.
really.
Agree to disagree.
But I didn't really see how it could benefit me, and I'm busy. You know, I mean, we're all busy, but being a little more involved as of late has made me think that actually the networking is valuable. And I was telling Sydney before we got started here that it's really got me into LinkedIn because there's so much going on with the Station C with LinkedIn, so that I was been using LinkedIn and I hate LinkedIn, but I hate all those platforms, you know, because they're just really time consuming and dumb. But I've actually found LinkedIn to be really beneficial as of late. I'm like connecting with people that I've been trying to connect with in person, and there's just these huge networks of people. And so anyway, it's definitely.
Well, Ben Robbins is a high priest of LinkedIn. It's a religion for that guy. Ben, it's a religion. Station C loves its LinkedIn.
And I do have to say, what I was watching on LinkedIn last night was your new commercial.
Yeah.
Yes, that was awesome.
That was so
funny?
good, Charlie.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Yeah.
What were you guys doing?
Well, I don't know Graham's last name, so I can't, but Graham is a friend who did my Good Bones Paint commercials. And so you guys can look that up at goodbonespaint.com. But we shot these commercials for our paint line, you know, probably 2 years ago or more. And then when I decided I wanted this onboarding video, I was like, Graham, we got to do this. And so we just kind of were winging it, but it came out pretty good.
It came out great.
Amazing.
That's really fun.
Did you write that script?
Yes. I mean, we sort of planned it in advance, but I didn't storyboard it. We just kind of, we were winging it, and we had to do a couple takes because I kept saying the wrong thing. And you know, eventually we got it.
Just pay us.
It works.
Yeah. I mean,
So here's what I want to know, and if you haven't seen it, go. It's on the LinkedIn. There's the part where you guys tell the folks to move stuff or whatever. Did you guys paint that wall with those cutouts?
We painted the cutouts.
Okay, yeah.
So we left the wall clean, and then we put the things there, and then we traced them with a pencil, and then we painted the shadows.
Gotcha.
So it looked like it was painted around.
Yeah.
But that was the idea. It's funny. I mean, that's an onboarding video, so it's not really like a company commercial. Like if you book us, there's certain things we want you to do, and we want you to, get excited about us coming, and so. If you book us, you get that video in your email after you sign your contract. And so it's just fun.
Move your stuff.
well, we did have a call-in on the show, and they asked if you could live today for your next commercial. We'll go ahead and rewrite it here. We're going to work out the lyrics to Baby Got Back, but Baby Got Paint.
Okay.
So take it away.
Like on the fly? I like big... so stop.
Cans.
Yeah.
Cans and cans.
These cans.
You cannot lie. You other painters can't.
Okay, Ben, you're welcome.
Yeah, there you go, Ben.
Got it in, Ben.
Writes the checks. You got to do what you got to do.
That'd be a good one. Like, do you remember that movie, The Jerk?
Yes.
You know, where he's like, God. It's the cans. He hates these cans. Let's just have paint in the cans, you know?
All these little spoofs. Yeah, you can become famous for that.
I mean, maybe you don't even need to do paint anymore. You're just moving into entertainment.
That'll
now.
work for me.
Yeah, there you go. How did you get into paint? I mean, is this a lifelong dream?
Yeah, somebody asked me that yesterday. So And it's a funny story. It's that, when I started going to college, I needed, summer work and, work to get through college. And so I learned to paint and painted all through college, then painted after college. And then I went to grad school and painted through grad school. And then when I was done with grad school, I was, competent enough to do one thing, and that was painting. So I started a painting company. So, I have degrees in philosophy and history, but, I'm a painter. So it's funny.
That's the most Charlottesville story ever because we had a guy paint our house one time. This guy shows up in a Mercedes station wagon, and he was he was getting his PhD in philosophy. Greatest painting we've ever had, though. He's like, I just need one coat, and he just cut everything in perfect. But I was like, that is Charlottesville to a T right there.
I will tell you, our contractor on the corner, he had his PhD in neuro engineering or something.
Right.
And there he was doing build outs in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Gotta, money. It's whatever works for you. Or whatever you're good at. Whatever you can do.
It's actually, I came to Charlottesville in 2005, and, I was qualified to I tried to get positions in different arenas that I had gotten my education, and I just couldn't really land a job, but I could paint because and so it just kind of evolved from there. I got married, had some kids, needed money, had to get more money than just a painter. So I needed to start something. So I started my own company, and now it's 2023. And
here you go.
Yeah.
You're making crazy videos on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
That's the way it works. Yeah. That's the evolution of it all, right?
That's
there.
Right.
Where were you from originally?
I grew up in Binghamton, New York. And I lived all over New York, upstate New York. I moved here from Rochester. I went to grad school in Rochester, and just had a few friends here, and came and gave it a shot. Just like, I'll try Charlottesville, and just stuck. So now I've been here longer than anywhere. So it's home.
Was Josh Tracy one of those friends?
No, Josh is a friend since I've been
Newer
here.
friend. Okay.
So Piedmont Paint and Finish. You guys sell paint, but you also paint. What's the majority of what you're doing right now? Are we moving more into painting people's houses, or is it more the in-store experience?
Yeah, good question. So we don't sell paint. We have we have a sister company sort of called Piedmont Paint Supply, and it's over at 1144 East Market Street, the old Gropin building. We sell, and that kind of just came out of the pandemic because we were having a hard time sourcing products from the big manufacturers. They were slowing us down on our projects, and I had a source for paint in Memphis from a company called Farrell Calhoun, and they're a long-established company in the South. They're really heavily. They have a lot of company stores in Tennessee, and Georgia, and Florida, and Texas, but not so much up in Virginia. I think their closest store to us is Bristol. I had approached them about making my paint because our third company is Good Bones Paint at goodbonespaint.com. And we went through this whole process of them vetting our product to see if they would make it. We were going to pull it from the current manufacturer in Lynchburg, and they turned me down. But I met the owner of the company in that process and went through their whole vetting process, and I was surprised that they turned me down, but they said they didn't think they could make the product to the standards that they have, and which I didn't personally think was true. I said, you don't even have to put your name on it. It's just but they wouldn't do it. So they gained. I got a little growly with them, but also a little bit of respect. And then when the pandemic hit, it was like, we could probably bring in their products, and so it's just evolved. So we opened up a paint store. And so now we're selling paint, which is great because I have a good resource for our paint contracting company. And we're able to provide these products to people locally, give them some more options.
So are people walking off the street to buy a can, 2 cans? I like cans of paint.
Cans. Yep, that works. Are people walking off the street? Well, we're kind of tucked down, we're not like on a storefront right on Main Street,
right.
So we do have people calling and just coming in, homeowners, and you can, for sure.
Nice.
We're not marketing that way. We're more like talking directly to paint companies and painters because, they buy more paint, obviously. So we would love for people to walk in, and they do, but we don't have a high volume of residents.
That's not the market.
That's not the market.
Yeah. But we're using a lot of the products with our paint contracting company, and we have a number of painters that are buying in, and Ben Robbins being one of them. And so, yeah, it's been good. It's good. It's flowing.
Yeah.
It takes a little while to build it up, but we're definitely selling a lot of paint. So it's good.
What's the biggest misconception Joe homeowner has about paint?
Wow.
That's a big one, right?
It is, and there's a lot, because I think the industry itself is designed to be confusing. They come out with all these different sheens and all these different lines and what does what, and you have to have paint just for your bathroom, or different sheens. Should I have an eggshell or a satin or a pearl or a matte and it's like,
pearl.
What does that mean? And so people will come to us and say, well, I need a satin. And say, well, this line only comes in an eggshell. Well, I need a satin. Well, really what that comes down to sheen percentage, right? It's like if you look at the chemistry behind it, there's a percentage of sheen that they put in the enamel. And if the sheen matches, then you have a sheen match. It's not whether or not it's eggshell or satin or whatnot. They create those terms because they kind of line up with the sheen percentages, but not always. Like an eggshell from one brand might be closer to a satin in another brand. So I think the biggest misconception is that it's all misconception, and like trying to get,
nothing.
expert advice on what to use is partially why we're doing it, right? Is because when people come to us, we're not just a paint store that gets knowledge from the manufacturer and can tell you, oh, well, the manufacturer tells us this. It's like, no, we've been painting for 20 years. We can tell you what the paint does because we use it.
Right.
So that's a big one, I think. Latex versus oil and like all these terms, what do they mean, and so we try to deconstruct that for people a little bit, and tell them how the paint performs, not what the advertising says.
Yeah.
So
I remember the guy that painted our house, he's like, can you go get the paint? And that was the first time my little brain and my little paint experience is like, that's about $20 a gallon. Something like that. And I went to the paint store and they're like, it's $96 a gallon. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What just happened? I mean, that's the shock when you get to paint. I mean,
well, it's funny because for me, the same thing still happens because I've been painting for so long. I'm like, that's $20. And they're like, no, it's $100. It's like, well, wait a minute. What, so yeah, but the paint costs have increased dramatically. They really follow the up and down cycle of petroleum, of oil costs, because, in the manufacturing process, they use that. So, and it influences like, titanium dioxide is a big ingredient, and that goes up and down with the price of oil. And so the interesting thing about the price of oil and gas, though, is that it goes up and then it comes back down. But when they give you these increases with the paint, because oil goes up, the paint never goes back down. Right. It's like, well, where to, I had a rep tell me once, hey, good news, there's going to be no increase this quarter. It's like, well, no, that's not good news. Like, when does it go back down? It's been going up. It's like, so we wanted to control that a little bit. And we've been able to do that somewhat with Farrell Calhoun. Of course, their prices have gone up too.
Right.
But we can be pretty competitive with these big companies, at least at a micro level. Like if you're a big contractor painting a hospital, we can't compete with Sherwin-Williams. They can price the paint wherever they want.
What's your niche right now? Where do you like to be?
Yeah. As far as residential, commercial.
Yeah. In those markets, like, is there a certain size,
No, it's like, of course, nobody wants to do the $50 patch, but we do it. We do the small jobs for people. We have a small jobs crew for that purpose. Overall, I'd say we're 50-50 commercial, residential, saying that our commercial jobs are much bigger, right? So we might do $1 million job, one job in commercial, and that could be half our business for the year.
Right.
So it's really just one job, and the other $1 million comes from, 300 jobs.
Yeah.
And so that's a thing, but it is 50-50 generally.
What's the craziest thing you've ever had anyone ask you to do with painting? Here we go. It's gonna be a good one.
Use your body as a paintbrush?
No one's asked me for that.
I heard a rumor once. We were talking about Chris Long. I heard a rumor once from an interior designer. that she walked away from Howie Long's when they bought their new house out on Bloomfield, over the house years ago. Walked away because he wanted one whole wing done in silver and black, painted black and silver walls and everything. She was like, nope, can't do that. I'm sure somebody did, but.
Well, I would do it. How if you want your house painted silver black
All day.
we'll do it. I mean, we don't make those kind of distinctions.
That's my crafts.
There was, for a while, the designers were doing this like half and quarter color mixtures on things. So like every ceiling would be half formula of the wall color. So if you're doing a really big house, typically you do all the ceilings as one phase. But when that happens, you have to do each ceiling individually with different colors, and that gets difficult to track and do right. And, you know, we always have touch-ups at the end, things like that. So it can be that's kind of a pain. And that kind of went out of favor, and that we're okay with that. Yeah. So, but whatever people want, I mean, we do, you know.
Was chalk one of the biggest, chalk paint one of the biggest fads ever? Or is it still a thing?
So we have our own brand of chalk paint, and yes, it was a fad. I would say it's no longer a fad. It's now a pretty solid DIY line. It's primarily a DIY project for people who want to paint furniture or cabinets or, you know, things like that on their own. It is primarily for distressing, doing sort of antiquing, and doing, and it's more forgiving, right? So if you're a painter, you're going to go through a whole process of, you know, primer and whatnot. And chalk paint's really designed as well. Let me say, chalk paint was not designed this way, but when we came out with our product, it was to circumvent some of these issues people were having with having to do all these steps, because you want to paint your furniture, but if you're not a painter,
right, it
actually kind of sucks. Like, painting's kind of hard, and like, you know,
cool
some people, you know, it seems like a fun project, and then we get a call, you know. We designed our product to be both a primer, a paint, and a sealed coat all in one. And most chalk paint is not designed to stick to anything. You have to prime if you really want it to stick, or it'll just come right off, which is sometimes part of what they want, because they want to be able to sand it off really easy to distress, you know, and antique things.
Right, yeah.
But not everybody. So it's like, so we wanted a product that would stick no matter what. And then technically, when you're done and your piece looks really good, unless you're going to not touch it and it's just going to sit somewhere, you need to top coat it with something. So there's like this series of like clear coats and waxes that you can use if you use some of these other lines. But ours is a finish right off the top. So it looks matte and flat, and you can leave it that way, but you can buff it to like a satin sheen if you want. So we designed the product to do all those things, and it really works. Like if you have an old mahogany lacquered piece that was like your grandma's, that like is like, you know, slick as could be, that like definitely needs to be primed, you can put it on there and it will not come off. It will stick. And that has to do with the resins, which is actually why Farrell Calhoun wouldn't make it, because they couldn't source this resin that I was using. And
so no, you're not painting it and then playing tic-tac-toe.
Well, I was going to say, how many calls do you hear people saying, well, the chalk's not sticking to this?
Yeah, it's not chalkboard paint. It's
Sarah.
Chalk
Nathan.
paint. So chalkboard paint, which we also sell at the store. Pigment paint supply.
Yes.
1144 East Market Street. Chalkboard paint, you paint, and then you can write on it.
There you go. See, there's a difference.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing going right now? So chalk's gone.
I would say, like, as far as technology goes in the paint industry, it's these sort of hybrids. Like they've figured out how to suspend different resins in water as opposed to solvents, right? So it used to be like oil-based paint was oil-based paint and water-based paint was water-based paint. Water-based paint has just come like so far. They've taken these alkyd resins and urethane resins that you used to have in a solvent and suspended them in water. So it's a water-based paint, but it has an alkyd resin, so it'll dry harder, perform better, and that's primarily what people are using now is these combo hybrid paints, which are pretty cool.
Sarah?
I don't have a lot of experience painting, but when I have tried painting, it is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
I can't paint.
can't.
I've tried, and I'm like, just like what you said with the folks when they do their furniture. It's like, oh, this is gonna be an awesome day. It's gonna be, and then you're like 20 minutes in, you're like,
You're
this
crying.
was such a stupid idea. I can't do this, man. Come on, why did I even take this on? And then, you sit there and stare at it. Then you finally just like, heck with it. You start smearing it on, whatever. It's got character now. It's got some personality, but it's horrible.
I mean,
So,
how many of those calls do you get?
We get some calls like that. Yeah. People get started and they're like,
paint your house, especially.
you gotta come
You
and
think
finish this for me.
it's 4 walls and a ceiling, right? But then you're like, holy smokes, this is.
Those arm muscles alone.
Yeah, I think actually everybody can paint. I think to do a good job painting, if you're not a trained and skilled painter, it just takes a really long time. You have to go really slow to get it right, to get your lines right, to do your work. And some people enjoy that. I think most people don't.
I grew up with a bunch of musicians, and a bunch of those dudes all are painters. And that was, but their big thing was they'd have to tape. I remember that, those dudes back in the day, like, paint, they could just cut a line in or cut a corner in or whatever, just.
Yeah, if you have to tape, you're definitely going too slow to build as a painter.
I can tape 37 times and it's still going to be all over the place. It's just
I mean, you can tape and you can make like $1 an hour.
One or the other.
What's your future, Nathan?
That may be. So what does Charlie Davis do when he's not painting?
Well, it's funny you should say musicians because I'm a hobbyist musician. So I'm in the Ragged Mountain String Band.
Okay.
We play every Tuesday at the Whiskey Jar.
All right.
This is fun. This like plugging thing. Yeah. We've been doing that, I think, for 11 years.
What are we going to hear?
Wow.
What are we going to hear?
We played at the Whiskey Jar the night they opened.
Oh, nice.
And we've been there ever since on Tuesdays. Will Ricky, restaurateur extraordinaire, has been a real big supporter of us. And so he's kept us there every Tuesday for that long. It's pretty cool.
Sounds like a Station C event coming up.
Yeah, I know. He's lead singer. What's going on?
I am not the lead singer of that band, but I also have a band called Charlie and the 45s.
Oh.
And we do a honky tonk project. We play like honky tonk music. It's pretty fun. And we do a guest sort of karaoke-like review kind of thing every month at Holly's. And we play a set and then we invite people to come up and sing a song.
It's us, man.
It's us.
It's not like karaoke traditionally, like where they have the words and the music plays.
You got to know.
You kind of got to know the song and be able to lead the songs. It's more like a guest.
Baby Got Back? Duet.
The country version.
We have a
Country
rule. It has to
version.
be a country song.
We can make
so
it
you'd
a
have
country
to country
song.
that song up.
Oh, I like big butts and I cannot lie.
There you go.
Just
There it
the
is.
hat and the
Now,
little-
Big
Do that little
cans. You
shuffle?
like big cans.
Big cans. Yeah, that's it. That's what we're going to do it at.
Okay,
So,
great.
the June, no.
And what day is that?
Announcement.
We've been doing that every third Friday. So the
Third
next
Friday.
one is May 3rd Friday.
May 3rd Friday.
18th, 19, 20, something like that. And then we're playing at the Red Wing Roots Festival. I
Nice.
think that's June 22nd weekend. Both
Awesome.
bands are playing at that festival.
What?
Oh, wow. You're double
booked.
dipping.
Double,
Wow.
yep.
So you sing
Efficient.
Charlie and the 45s.
I do, yeah.
What instrument do you play?
I play guitar in that band. I play bass in Ragged Mountain String Band.
Bass and sing or just bass?
I sing one song in that band.
You know the joke. What does a bass player and three musicians have in common? A band. It's usually a drummer because a bunch of my buddies are drummers. I was like, you're not a musician. Just kidding. I'm sure you are. So now I'm not invited to sing.
I think you should challenge him to a little music off. Let's see your skills.
Oh, I got none. I know all those dudes, but I got no skills. I tried to play the ukulele. I tried to play the bass. Let's see. I tried to play the harmonica because I thought, well, these are things I can do to jam with these guys and catch some of the scraps
Yeah,
for the ladies
tambourine.
after a late night, but it's not going to happen. So
Tambourine.
I played the clarinet, in sixth grade. So I got that. Got a little bit of music.
Nice,
but
Nathan.
that's about it.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, I think you got anything else for?
No, I'm really excited to bring Station C out to see Charlie and the 45s.
Yeah, nice.
So let's roll through it again. Where can we find Charlie Davis and all of his
All of our stuff.
Yeah.
So Piedmont Paint and Finish, Good Bones Paint, and Pigment Paint Supply are all located at 1144 East Market Street, Charlottesville. It's the old Gropin building, if anyone remembers where they used to be. It's a Quonset hut.
It's an awesome building.
Actually, and
Amazing
it's kind of up on
building.
the hill over there, but you go around back, and that's where we are. So that's where that is. Ragged Mountain String Band plays every Tuesday at the Whiskey Jar. Charlie and the 45s plays every third Friday at Holly's.
That's it.
We got a lot of things to post on
That's it.
LinkedIn.
There it is. LinkedIn is going to be loaded. So for all you folks that just love LinkedIn, stand by because Sarah's little fingers are going to just be blowing it up. All right, kids. That's episode 15 in the books. What was that?
Thank you, Charlie.
Was it 15 last week? It is.
Oh,
15.
this is 15.
What was that? Quince?
15.
Quince. The AC says. Is that next? Got it right. Boom. There you go. There's your Latin. Not Latin. Spanish.
Or Latin.
Spanish for the day. Or Latin.
Something.
You know, it's all Latin. When we get down to it. We'll see you next week. Star Hill Dairy Lounge, downtown.
Downtown.
That's it. Star Hill Dairy Market Lounge, downtown. See you next week. This has been fun.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Charlie.